What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand spanking new episode of Hoops All In. If you guys are new, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Hoops All In. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms at Hoops All In on Instagram, TikTok, and X. Don't forget to subscribe to Keith's personal YouTube channel at Keith HAI and subscribe to my own YouTube channel, even though I don't talk about much basketball over there at Werls TV. Appreciate the shout out. Yeah, so we are back here with another episode for you guys. You know, it is the all season news is kind of slowed down, died down a little bit. So we're gonna talk about Bleacher Report's top 100 NBA players ever. They just posted this article a couple of days ago, and boy, this is getting some severe reaction and some severe criticism and backlash. Now, Keith, I'm gonna let you take the floor because I think that this list that Bleacher Report made is incredibly stupid. It's another rage bait and clickbait for them. But I digress. What do you think about this list?
I mean, it's a list, and not like nothing that no rankings is going to make everyone happy, which people need to. Which I still feel like some people don't understand, because again, everyone has a different opinion. Even when we do ours later in the episode, like you're going to see there are some differences between me and you, and then there are going to be people that watch this who also don't agree, but that's fine. But I thought the biggest thing is that they did a really bad job of like figuring out where the current players go. I think like there's a few like right like obviously LeBron, Curry, like I'm not talking about those guys, but like some of the younger guys that made the list already, some of the guys like I'm gonna just start right off the bat. Klay Thompson is not as low as he was. I believe he was 98.
Yep, there he is right there.
Four-time champion, two-time All-NBA. I think was that five-time All-Star, one-time defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe, if you want to look where Reggie Miller is, I believe Reggie Miller is somewhere in the 50s. Yeah.
54.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm taking Klay Thompson over Reggie Miller. I'm not saying Klay Thompson's got to be number 53, but I don't think Reggie Miller should be as high as 54, and I don't think Klay should be as low as 58 or 54 or 98, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Other players like you don't need to look. Draymond is like 88. That I mean that's not too bad honestly because he's very limited offensively, and that's what a lot of the NBA is. I mean, what Luka and Embiid are in the 50s, 60s somewhere. Like there's just these current players that either like have a lot accomplished and they're kind of just they don't get it because a current player made an all-star game 10 times. Damian Lillard, another perfect example, 64.
Yeah.
I think he was when they did the NBA top 75. I think he was like the literally 75th or 76th player because
Mm-hmm.
the top 75 of all time was actually 76 players.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's just kind of my take on it. There are, some more retired players that I think really
Yeah.
got disrespected too. But how about you? What is your kind of sight on this specifically?
Yeah, like I said again, I think that this list was stupid. I think it's just another rage bait by Bleacher Report because they do this every single year. The list is never consistent. They had, like you said, Dame Lillard over Kyrie Irving and Joel Embiid and Robert Parrish. He's not that high. They had Reggie Miller over Luka Doncic, and I think Klay Thompson was low, as you mentioned. They had Chauncey Billups over Jason Tatum. They had Patrick Ewing over AD and Walt Frazier. They had Kevin Durant over Nikola Jokic, and arguably the most disrespect of them all, and we talked about it a little bit. They had Steph Curry ranked over the late great Kobe Bryant. Now, remember a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, before he passed away, God rest his soul, people were mentioning it was Kobe, LeBron, and MJ in the top three. All of a sudden, now he's outside everybody's top 10. So I wanted to know what happened in the last 5 years for Kobe to go all the way from top three to outside the top 10. Because nobody passed him up. Who passed him up? Who accomplished more since he stopped playing?
Yeah.
That's what I don't get. And if Kobe was still here and alive, the Kobe disrespect would not be as it is right now. If he was still here and alive, people would not be having him as low as I've seen lists as 15, 20. Some people have Kobe Bryant outside the top 15. It is just utterly ridiculous and disgusting to me. Like I said again, and this is why I'm mad at Bleacher Report, because they're never consistent with their list. Like a couple of years ago, they had a top 75 list of all time, and they had Kobe in the top 5. So what changed now? Yeah, you move that guy from the and then, like you said, Dame Lillard wasn't that high. He was, at the bottom 70s. Now all of a sudden he's like what 50 something. They're inconsistent. That's why I call it's rage bait. It's for clicks, it's for reaction. They love that type of stuff because you gotta remember they're a content brand. The more engagement they get is good for their channel. But I digress. I think it was just to get people talking at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I put a TikTok out earlier today asking. I feel like you said, you talk about 7, 8 years ago, whatever. The top three for a lot of people, I felt like was Jordan, then Kobe, then LeBron. LeBron passed up Kobe in most people's eyes, I think, and um, all of a sudden, like Kobe, I rarely see Kobe in the top five. As we mentioned, he is number 11 on this list. Um, Now, I'm not saying you need to have him at number 3, but I feel like anything outside of like top 7 is like kind of like crazy. Like I believe like type in Kobe, find Kobe for us. I think it'll show um his lowest and highest ranking if you scroll down to the bottom of his part.
Kobe 11, and his lowest top 100 ranking is 18.
And he's like at a
18.
fourth. So that's my point. Like what because a lot of the other top 10 players outside of like Curry and LeBron, none of them are active. They all played either way before Kobe Bryant or they retired at a similar time. So it's not like those guys did anything since Kobe retired.
Exactly.
So I don't really understand the outside of top 10 stuff for Kobe. A lot of people like would say Kobe is the closest thing we have seen to Michael Jordan.
Agree.
It's now saying that somebody is the closest to Michael Jordan does not mean that he is necessarily close. He's just the closest. And I mean, he is close in certain ways, but like, I there's no way. I mean, it's not like his accolades bring it down. It's not like his stats bring it down. So I don't really know what brings it down because there are some players where it's like Allen Iverson, he's got an MVP. He's got, I'm sure, a bunch of all-star, a bunch of all defensive, right? 4-time scoring champion, but he doesn't have the ring. So maybe that makes sense that some people would bring that down. Kobe's got 5 rings. Granted, he's only got 2 finals MVPs because 3 of them Shaq got. But again, his stats, like what are his stats for his career?
They just show key stats: 25 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, almost 5 assists, 1.4 steals, and shooting about almost 45% from the field. Now, you talk about his stats for his career. I could pull that up right now.
Those might be it.
Yeah. So his stats for his entire career, and this is from according to ESPN.com. Kobe, yeah, so it is. Yeah,
Okay.
same thing, 5.24%. So yeah, that's their career stats.
Now, and I get, okay, maybe he's only got 1 MVP. I will say the best response to people talking about why is Kobe so low. Shaq was talking to Draymond Green. I don't know if you've ever seen this. I think it was on Draymond's show or Shaq's show where Shaq asked Draymond, "Do you think Kobe should be in the GOAT conversation?" He says, "For sure, whatever." And he asked, "Why do people not put him there?" And Draymond said, "When Kobe entered the league in '96, Jordan was dominating, right? That was pretty much the middle of Jordan's time. Jordan had just come back from baseball at the time, and Jordan was still getting another three-peat.
Mm.
Then by the time Jordan left the league in 02, 03, LeBron entered the league and he was pretty much that guy since day one. So Draymond said that there was not enough time where Kobe was single-handedly like the top of the top, like Jordan was for 10 years or LeBron was for 15 years. Kobe only had a few years before LeBron really was like averaging 30 in his third year and was like, LeBron's never averaged under 25 since his second season before this year. So like there's not enough time to where Kobe was, the number one guy in the league like there was for Jordan and LeBron, which, makes some sense to me, but still he was top 3 for maybe 15 years. Like it's not like he was just outside of the top 10. It's not like he didn't get things done. He was a winner. It's not like but that's just the best way I've heard it put. I've heard someone put it. If you are going to make the argument for him not being in the top 5, top 7, but yeah, I do not have him outside of the top 7. That's for sure.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, it was just it's very disrespectful. A lot of people who were on this list, like again, I don't have Steph Curry that high. I mean, Steph Curry, obviously, he is a top, I say, 15 player of all time.
Mhm.
But to be ahead of guys like I said, Kobe and other greats, we just pump the brakes here a little bit. So, like I said, I'm just going back to it's Bleacher Report. It's very consistent. You look at their previous, list before they didn't have these players all over the place, and what changed in the last 5 years for active guys to move past Kobe. Because okay, let's look at the last 5 champions, because NBA's had 7 different NBA champions. Shea won a ring. He's not in the top 50 right now. He can be that when it's all said and done, but he's got a lot of work to do. Jokic won a ring. He's not, in the top 10 right now. He could be, but he's still got some work to do. Giannis won a ring. He's not a top, 10 player right now, in my opinion, but he can be. He's got some work to do. Who else? You look at the Golden State Warriors. Obviously, we talked about Steph. You look at Kawhi Leonard when they went with the Toronto Raptors.
Mhm.
He's not a top 20 player. He could be if he could stay healthy, but he got some work to do. So outside of those guys that I named in the last 4 or 5 years,
Mhm.
how have they had passed Kobe with just 1 championship? And like you said, the guy is five,
Right.
and multiple time All-Star. He's a what 3-time Olympic gold medalist. So
Mhm.
so we have to factor all that in. So like I said again, to me, it's just is I won't stand for this Kobe slander. As you could tell, I got him, a couple of portraits and pictures of him on my wall in my room. But
I got one right there.
yeah, and we both agree. Like I said, I don't think that this disrespect would be as loud as it is if he was
Mhm.
still alive. Again, God rest his soul.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, ranking, I mean, we could talk about this forever, but like, why are we going to talk about the 63rd ranked player being when he
Yeah,
should be the 61st ranked player? Like,
yeah,
it's not that big of a deal. I mean, sure, when you get to the top 10, someone might have somebody 9 that you have 7, or something like that. But top 100's a lot of players, so I will say, like, I'm sure this took time. It took some time, but there are some guys where it's like, who is? Can you last player? Can you look up Bob Lanier in that
gotcha. Bob
list?
Lanier.
Because I'm pretty sure he made this list. I think it's Lanier or
Yeah,
something.
he's 82.
Can I see his accolades?
He's just an 8-time All-Star. That's it.
I'm not taking that over Clay Thompson.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I, I
Not
I mean, sure, he played. I don't. I think he
played
was like an
14
'80s guy,
seasons.
70s or '80s guy.
Yeah.
I'm not just because he was an 8-time All Star. He's got pretty good stats, 20 and 10. But
Mhm.
I'm not just because a player made the All Star game a bunch of times doesn't mean I'm taking him. Like I'm taking a lot of the current guys. Like I'm probably taking. I'm honestly probably taking Draymond over him too.
I think so. Yeah, I'll take Draymond over him too. Like, because again, we all like, how do they rate this list? Like, is it off impact, your impact on your team
I
success,
mean, I think when these
accolades?
publications do it, they really factor in rings and accolades more than statistical things. At least I would assume. I feel like obviously you need a mix of that and other things and stuff, but I feel like rings really takes it down because I think what they had Bill Russell 4th or 5th.
Yeah, Bill Russell. I'll tell you where he was. Bill Russell was ranked 5th. Yep, he was in the top 5, and
I
obviously
don't
he's
have
the most
right. I don't have him
champion of all
5th.
time.
Granted, he did some great things for the league. Obviously, he has the most rings and stuff. He's retired league wide, but like he's not the 5th best player.
This guy had more rebounds than points per game. That's fucking insane.
Yeah, I mean, and at the time, right? Like those old players, like
Yeah.
60s, 70s guys, are really hard to rank. Because like some like I don't think there wasn't an all defensive team for Bill Russell
No, not at all.
time. There weren't finals MVPs for Bill Russell. There,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's just hard. It's hard to do. They weren't even counting blocks for him and like Wilt.
that's true. Yeah.
So it like those players are really hard to rank. So I kind of give them some slack in that because it really is hard to do because like you could be like, oh yeah, sure, Bill Russell, what how many times he was an 11-time all NBA, so he probably would have been 11-time all defense.
Hmm. Yeah. And plus,
Especially
like,
at that time when there wasn't a lot of people they were fighting against.
yeah, and plus, like you said, too, different eras. Like you look at the 50s and 60s was not as athletic and fast paced as it is, in the 2010s and 2020s. Is a different time. Now, yes, maybe the physicality was a little bit different and more physical, in the 80s and 90s, but the players in the 80s and 90s could not keep up with today's pace. They're not as skilled. The players in the 80s and 90s are not as skilled as today's NBA players. You got centers like Wemby, who is 7'4", 7'6", pulling up and shooting threes and jumpers like they're point guards. They have point guard handling skills. You got these centers who are averaging like Jokic, for example. Jokic go out on the court and get you 10 assists. If he did that back in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, they would have thought that he was a wizard. They would have had Jokic drug tested. They would have thought that this man is some type of foreign alien that should not be playing basketball. So the skill, so every generation is different. Like you said, we weren't alive to watch 50s and 60s basketball, hell, even 80s and early 90s basketball. So we can't really, like you said, we can't really tell, put a accurate depiction and compare a player to. But we could damn sure, like when you see highlights and players in some games, on NBA TV, it's like, oh no, like they could not hang, especially the pace in today's style. Like, yeah, it might have been more physical, but today you got guys like I don't think this is controversial. You got guys like maybe Jordan or like a Bill Russell or Kevin McHale or Larry Bird. They
Mhm.
would get tired in today's NBA because of the pace is just too much. They'll have to get sub. They'll ask for a sub out like 6 times a game. It's like, oh no, coach, take me. I can't because
Mhm.
it's different. It's just a different time and era. So I hate when people try to compare eras. Like, well, this era was that. There's no era that's better than the era. Yes, it's more favorable for you to watch. You may have a bias, but at the end of the day, like we can all say, well, this era is better than that. But we weren't there. So that's all I had to include in that.
They do things differently, obviously
Yeah.
different types of game, different types of players,
Different rules back then. You could
different
hand check back
rules.
then. Now you can't hand check. That's automatically a foul. So
And
that
if we're
takes away a
going
little
way,
bit from the
way back, you
physicality.
couldn't even dribble.
Yeah, literally.
And if we're going way back to before even Bill Russell, like couldn't even dribble. There
Yeah.
were two different leagues, the NBA and the ABA, which I think also is also hard to gauge for some players because I mean, probably the best ABA player of all time, Julius Irving,
Mm-hmm.
is like he's one of the best small forwards of all time, but a lot of his damage was in the ABA.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. And again, there was no shot clock.
Right.
I don't like back then there was no shot clock. So it was like, hey, you got guys just dribbling out the clock,
Mhm.
not having any awareness. Now, oh, like if you don't shoot it with 24 seconds, that's a turnover. So all that plays a factor in, again, like players' accolades, their stats. I'm talking about like, not trying to get off a rant, but you got, people bitching on the internet talk about, oh, well, I think the NBA should shorten the regular season. So much of these stats and these record holders would have to be erased if you do shorten the NBA season because you're talking about what decades of history that you can't just replace like that.
Right. Yeah. And but look at that, right? Two-time ABA champion,
Mhm.
three-time ABA MVP, five-time all ABA. Like he was still a good player in the NBA, but he was better in the ABA. If you're
Yeah,
talking like Julius Irving, some
yeah,
of the older guys like George Mikan did a lot of his damage in the ABA because he was, before then. I think he was around the 40s somewhere.
let me see. George Mikan. Yeah, yeah, he's 44.
44, right? Like six-time all see BAA. That's
Mm-hmm.
another different league.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to it really is hard to rank those like older players, even though they are top 10 players of all time. But some people, are like, who they did it against versus, whatever else. So, and like, look, he only played 7 seasons, it says
Yeah,
right there.
yeah, literally,
Like, I
literally.
don't know. I don't know if that is just counting ABA versus NBA, I don't. I'll look real quick, but yeah, that's George Mikan. Yeah, he literally only played 7 years.
Mhm.
He
And
came in
that
at age 24. He led the league in scoring his first 3 years,
mm,
and then he played 6 years, retired, and then came back the next year for 37 games.
no, he tried to pull a Jordan.
But like you look at this, and it's like his first 2 seasons, they weren't even tracking rebounds.
Yeah.
Like there's no column for blocks, there's no column for steals, there's no column for turnovers. There's
Mhm.
nothing for minutes in his first 3 years. It's just a different game. He's also a center who shot 38% from the field 1 year, but hey, but still.
Yeah. But hey, I mean, like I said, we can agree to disagree, but I think overall we can say that this list was just very, very peculiar. It was
Yeah.
very peculiar and ridiculous to say the least. Like this is not one of Bleacher Report's finest lists.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. All right. All right, guys. That is it for this episode of Hoops All In. Next, we're going to talk about our top 25 best players of all time. So we're going to do it the right way. So don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, follow us on our social media platforms at Hoops All In on Instagram, TikTok, and X. Don't forget to subscribe and follow Keith's personal channel at Keith HAI and my personal channel, Werls TV. Share this video out there with your friends, family, loved ones, and we'll catch you guys on another episode of Hoops All In. Take care. God bless. Peace.